Hey, what's up? Welcome to Mr. American Politics. I wanted to respond to another video by What You Ought to Know on YouTube, where he talks about intelligent design and evolution. And what I wanted to give him credit for was saying that intelligent design is not science, which it's clearly not. And if you think it's science, if you think it's a theory, I feel bad for you, because it's not. It's not supported by evidence whatsoever. It's based on speculation. And if you want to base things on speculation, I could say the flying spaghetti monster created everything. I mean, and granted, a clear flaw with intelligent design is that who creates the creator? You know what I mean? It's an unsolvable problem. So, I think, for one, he talked. All right. Well, let me get to some of the points in the video. For one, he says that Dr. Dawkins treats science like a religion. It's totally false. Richard Dawkins bases his beliefs on reality based on a system that uses facts, observation, and research to support its claims. That's not religious. That's just using your head to look at, okay, well, they've proven this. They say this is true. They've shown me studies that say why it's true. So until someone challenges it's going to be true. But there's always a level of certainty. Not everything is certain. I mean, technically, gravity is still a theory because it's not. There's always uncertainty. And I guess it's the beauty about the scientific field is that it's constantly changing because people are finding ways to disprove old theories, which is how it advances. And you could say that, well, that means nothing in science can be true, but I mean, if you're religious, you have no evidence to support your claims. So, but either way, what I wanted to talk about was that he talks about how evolution doesn't happen anymore. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. Evolution happens every year. It's called the flu virus. The flu virus every year evolves into a different flu virus because of the vaccines we put out each year, and we have teams of scientists who work on making flu vaccines to almost predict what the flu is going to be like this year. And if they get it wrong, we're screwed. And it's happened before. We have gotten it wrong before. There's also numerous studies that you can look up on the National Science Foundation. You can look up Fact Check, I think. I'm sure Fact Check would probably have something on it. You can look up numerous studies that show microevolution. And microevolution is an organism evolving over a short period of time. And the reason that proves macroevolution is because if things change little bit by little bit over short periods of time, eventually, if you look from the beginning to the end, there's going to be a big change. And I think that evolution, people talk about, oh, well, it's so obviously false. Well, all it means is that things adapt to changes in the environment over time. Things change because the environment changes. I mean, do you think people are the same? You know, the average height has increased. If you go to Puerto Rico, a lot of the old houses that they had hundreds of years ago are so low because people back then were shorter. But now we're all seem to be taller. That's just microevolution. You're not going to see chimpanzees popping out human babies. That's just stupid. The theory behind human evolution is that we share a common ancestor with primates. And yes, there has not been the common ancestor. No, it has not been found yet. But we keep getting closer and closer. And, if you look at a chimpanzee, its brain is 98% identical to a human brain. I mean, if you can't think that there could be some sort of connection somewhere along the line, I mean, I'd like to know why. I think that evolution. I mean, look, I've seen people say, "Oh, well, there's a lot of scientists who say that evolution couldn't possibly be true," and that's bullshit. For one, you just say a lot of scientists. You don't actually show us studies or give examples or tell us why. You just say, "Well, a lot of scientists." Okay, well, where's your references? Where are your scientists at? If it was so obviously flawed, don't you think that there would be a team of scientists working to disprove it and would have had a study out by now that says, all right, this is its fault. This is why it's false, and these are the reasons that we observed that prove it to be false. It's not there. So all those claims that you make, you're lying. I'm calling you all liars. And because it's true, you're lying. You're not telling the truth. There was also, I think, one of the biggest distinctions that people miss between evolution and ID is that intelligent design attempts to explain how life began, whereas evolution explains how things change over time. And I think that that's a big distinction that a lot of people miss. And basically, to me, a big logical flaw with ID is, well, if a creator created everything, who created the creator? How did the creator get here? As far as to my human understanding, nothing is ever present. Nothing is always there, no matter what. Everything comes from something else. Rocks come from sand. Sand comes from the earth. The earth came from everything comes from somewhere. So look, there's nothing wrong with saying you don't know. Look, do we know how life began? No. Will we ever know how life began? Possibly, but I can honestly say I don't think we'll ever find out. I don't think we'll ever find out the answer to that. Is it possible that life was influenced by outside life forms, like aliens, as we would call them? Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the ideas going around, is that comets hit the Earth, and there was bacteria on the comet, and eventually the bacteria, the single-celled organisms became multi-celled organisms, and it started from there. I mean, there's no evidence to back that. It's just an idea. But I mean, it seems logical to me. I mean, I don't see how that's not logical. And look, again, I give the guy great credit for saying that ID isn't a science. It's not. Nothing scientific about it. But I think that his ideas as far as evolution are completely false. And I think if he just did some research, he'd understand how he's been misled. Evolution is pretty obvious that it happens. It's very obvious that it happens. It happens every year. It happens every month. It happens all the time. People expect chimps to give birth to humans or gorillas to give birth. It doesn't work like that, and people just tend to think. And I don't know if this guy thinks like that. I can't say, but I mean, he must not have done his homework. And by the way, what you ought to know, I mean, if you have a statement to say against this, I challenge you to challenge my argument. It'd be nice to have a debate. All right, take it easy.